I wanted to bring today's episode to the podcast talking about why it takes two to have a baby. I think we all know this, but why it's important to include your partner on your fertility journey. And it may feel very isolating. It may feel frustrating or may feel empowering that you are the one making most of the changes, making the diet changes, adding all the supplements, doing the lifestyle changes. And your partner may be over there doing some of the changes, but he may not know exactly what he can do. So this is if we're dealing with female factor infertility. So it may feel that the weight is all on your shoulders. And even though he's over there, willing to do anything, he may not know what that is. So we're going to talk today about strategies that you can do together as a team and really why this is as important as you prepare your body for your baby. So excited for you to listen to this episode and definitely listen to this one with your partner. Hey there. Thanks so much for listening to the Get Pregnant Naturally podcast. And I've got a favor to ask you. If you are enjoying learning about the functional approach to fertility, consider going to iTunes and rating and reviewing the podcast. This is how it helps the show reach more people that are struggling with infertility, knowing that there's another approach that really can get to the bottom of why it's not working in the first place. So all you need to do is, if you're on the app or the desktop, just go in and consider leaving a 5-star rating and leave a review. And there is step-by-step instructions in the show notes showing you exactly how to do that. So if you can just take a few minutes, right now. You can pause this recording, come back, leave the review. It would really mean the world to me and help others that are on the fertility journey as well. Take care. Hey there. I regularly speak with 5 to 10 couples per week who are struggling to have their baby. And although we want to help everyone, we only have 2 spots available per month to work with us. So the Supercharge Your Fertility Discovery call is for action takers. And really people who are ready to move forward so they can finally have their baby. And if you're not ready and you wait, the risk is you'll need to wait 2 to 3 months for a spot to open up. So if you're seriously considering working with us, go to Fab Fertile, FabFertile.com and click on book a free call. Then you'll be all booked in and ready to spend 30 minutes to give you the action plan to getting pregnant naturally. That's Fab Fertile, FabFertile.com and click on book a free call. One theme that keeps coming up with the couples in our Fab Fertile Couples Coaching Program is sleep. Whether it's insomnia, having a hard time falling asleep, waking up at night, or feeling tired when we wake up, sleep is critical for fertility and hormones. And that's why I'm so excited to have Blue Blocks as our podcast sponsor. So we're exposed to blue and green light from our phones, our tablets, our computers, indoor lights, and more. And this exposure impacts our melatonin production. And melatonin is essential for both female and male fertility. It helps determine the frequency and duration of our cycle and impacts sperm. There's lots of blue light blocking glasses on the market, but the ones from Blue Blocks, they've actually compared other popular brands, and Blue Blocks block 100% of blue and green light, while other brands fall short. So I have their sleep glasses. They have red lenses, and the ones I have are a little translucent frame, and they're so stylish and really cool. And so they eliminate 100% of the blue and green light in the 400 nanometer to 550 nanometer range. So this is exact range that has been shown in clinical studies to disrupt melatonin and negatively impact your sleep. So all you do is wear your sleep glasses after sunset until it's time for bed, and you'll notice improved sleep after just one use. And it's also cool to use when you're flying for managing jet lag. So I got to say I was a little skeptical about the noticing improvement after one use, but literally I use these glasses and my sleep is actually already pretty good. I used them for one day, and I have to say after one day, I had the best sleep of my life. I just felt so rested. So these glasses, they ship free and they're tracked for all orders anywhere in the world. And also they have all their frames come in prescription, non-prescription, and reading glasses. Plus you can send in your frames and they'll add the blue light blocking and green light blocking lenses to your frame. So this is an easy hack that you can add to your fertility toolkit. All you do is go to Blue Blocks, BLUBLOX.com. Use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast at checkout and receive a 15% discount. That's Blue Blocks, BLUBLOX.com, and use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast to receive your 15% discount. I didn't need to go to donor eggs. Obviously, I don't regret it. I have beautiful children. I could have done things differently, restored. I was still cycling back in my 20s. I could have looked at my health, the environmental toxins, the stress I was under.
Many women are being told their eggs are too old. That's often merely an assumption that's not based on actual evidence. The reason being that there is no direct test of egg quality. You can't test egg quality.
It's the man who's got a food sensitivity or he has a zinc deficiency.
Like there can be a root cause to these symptoms that are, quote unquote, period problems, that the doctor will pass you a pill without any question of why.
And some part of you knows that if you can reframe your journey from not want to struggle, or if it is struggle, learn how to embrace the struggle. Learn how to embrace it.
Most conditions in the child occur during the 9 months of development. It's the genetic switches are turned on or turned off, and they're pre-programmed. So you are in such a powerful, amazing position to do amazing things for your kids.
Why is IVF the first step? Because we believe it should be the last step. Welcome to Get Pregnant Naturally, where functional medicine and natural fertility solutions will help you get pregnant and have your baby. Hey there, I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fab Fertile and your host. I believe the functional approach is the first step for anyone struggling with infertility, and my aim is to help you get pregnant naturally. Today, I'm digging into why it takes two to prepare for a baby. So this episode is for you if you are the only one making all the diet and lifestyle changes, if your partner is supportive but he's not sure what he can do to improve his preconception health, or if he isn't open to making changes, what you can say to him. Hint, it's not about convincing or nagging him. You have female factor infertility, so he doesn't really need to do anything, and what you could be missing. I discuss steps to help if you have low AMH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency or failure, unexplained infertility. And a tip here is not about focusing on the diagnosis. So thanks so much for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here, and make sure you hit subscribe. And if you know someone else who is on the fertility journey, please share this podcast with them. So although most people that reach out to us, it's female factor infertility, we offer couples coaching programs. So the reason why we're doing couples coaching is it takes two to have a baby. And even though it's female factor infertility, there's always things the male partner can do to optimize his preconception health. And if you are a single and doing this by yourself, we do coach single women as well. But typically it's mostly couples coaching. And so when I first started doing this, I was just coaching women, and I really kept thinking there was a missing link, something that we weren't addressing, which was her partner, and her partner wasn't on the calls and wasn't able to really have the life-changing aspect of this, and she was doing it by herself. So that's when we started coaching couples. And so today I just really wanted to dig into why it's so important to do this with your partner. Because I've had women tell me that they feel it's their fault, that they feel broken. This can lead to a lot of isolation, to shame, heartbreak, and really it can tear a relationship apart. Most people that come to see me are deeply in love and trying to have their baby. Others are in a very dark place and they equally want to have a baby, but the relationship has taken a real toll on the relationship. And a lot of times they put joy on hold as they singularly focus on having a baby. So having someone look at all aspects of your life and really guide you through this journey, empowering you, knowing that there's things you can do to help really bring back that joy, which then helps as you're on this journey together. So today I just wanted to go through some strategies to help you do that, and kind of what I'm seeing on a regular basis with couples. So the first thing I'm seeing is, men and women handle infertility differently. We just do typically, and I'm going to generalize here, but typically women are joining Facebook groups, setting up anonymous Instagram profiles, typically other social media, and they're sharing their fertility journey. They may tell a few friends and family members. Some people may not tell anyone. And then with men, they typically aren't telling anyone. They're not typically going on social media. And you may even feel that women may feel that everything is on their shoulders, but their partner is equally in pain. He just may not know how to verbalize how he's feeling. And he may feel he has to be strong for his spouse. He may see that she is having a really hard time with this, so he's not able to then share his true feelings. A lot of times when we're going through the coaching, couples will say things to each other for the first time, and it brings you closer together. So it really is important to have this open dialogue so you can move forward really to improve your relationship. And it's building a strong foundation. So when you are pregnant and then when you're parents, so just really building this strong foundation for your future family to know that you will each be handling this differently, and that's okay. And not to judge how your partner's doing. Maybe for you, you're feeling triggered by baby announcements and baby showers and children in general, whereas men may not feel that way, or maybe they do. So it is to give voice to those differences. And what I've seen is that allowing the male partner really be able to verbalize this, because again, he may feel he has to be strong, and if that's not you, then that's okay. Other men are able to verbalize this, but that's what I've seen from the couples that I've worked with over the years. So the emotional part of this is key. We do emotional freedom techniques. So tapping, really helping to get to if there's trauma. And a lot of times with dealing with infertility, we're seeing people that have been through miscarriages, stillbirths, multiple failed IUIs and IVFs, and they may not even be able to visualize even becoming parents. They may have decided to go to adoption, or maybe they're not ready to do that yet. And they just feel in a very dark place typically, and feeling that everyone else around them is moving on while they're stuck, desperately wanting to have their child. So it's a very disempowering place to be. So having two people together, being able to voice those thoughts, worries, shame, whatever is coming up for you. And then that helps you, instead of pushing all these emotions down, feeling that it's not normal. And it's totally normal to have those feelings, feeling that it's not normal. You push it down, and then it just prolongs the suffering. So having the two of you together really helps to see a path forward. And the next thing we have is, I typically see women making the changes by themselves. So most people that come to me, they say they're eating a clean diet. As we dig into that a little closer, we're looking at a diet that's personalized for you. I see a lot of women taking heaps of supplements that, they're general recommendations that may be right, but are they right for your body? But typically I see women that are making the diet changes. Women are adding the supplements, and the male partner may be taking a few supplements. He typically the ones that I've worked with typically haven't changed their diet. But again, most couples I'm working with, they're very open to making these changes. Whatever it takes, really. So it is, you're going to get the best results if you have an open mind. So you're open mind to okay, wait, let's just look at another way forward. And if you've been stuck doing, multiple IUIs and IVF, spending tens of thousands of dollars and it hasn't worked, looking at the functional approach and looking at our Fab Fertile method, there's a proven protocol that really making these foundational changes does lead to success. When we talk about so if it's only you making these changes, your partner may not know what he can do. So how we start with the program is basically we have both partners do the elimination diet. So especially with the elimination diet, and it's not about starvation, you drinking green juice all day long. Definitely check out the episode How and Why to do the elimination diet. It's the gold standard to figure out if you have a food sensitivity, and if there's inflammation going on in your body wants to survive, not procreate. And we see, I would say 99% of the people we work with, there is a food sensitivity going on. So if you take out those inflammatory foods, reintroduce them, and then you're both doing this together and you're both eating together. And again, it's not you surviving on green juice. It's taking out the top allergens and still being able to eat animal protein and veggies and carbs. So you can do it super simple. So definitely check out that episode where we tell you what to do. But we have both partners do it together, and they're cooking together, they're eating together, then they're starting to reintroduce the foods together. One person, may feel reactions. Typically, what I've seen with couples we work with, as they are reintroducing the foods back in, most people have a reaction to something, be it eggs, be it gluten, be it dairy. Most people are like, oh, this does something to me. And then we write it down and we refer back to it. So then you can remember, because 3 weeks later, when you decide you want to have cheese again, after you've discovered that dairy maybe, makes you phlegmy or doesn't meet your digestion, you'll forget. So the diet piece, doing it with your partner, is key. And then, as I say, we're dealing typically with female factor infertility. So then we're doing food sensitivity for the female. And so the food sensitivity testing will then tweak it even further, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there for male and female fertility, what you should do. And there's sort of general guidelines. There's the Harvard nurses study where they're talking about, this is a study of over 17,000 nurses over the course of 8 years and really recommending the foods and lifestyle strategies to do. So this is for women. For men, there's other studies talking about environmental toxins and things they can do to help the sperm. It starts with the egg book, has a lot of recommendations for supplements. It also has male supplement recommendations as well as some diet strategies. Again, these are very generalized recommendations. And while some of them may be okay, are they the right ones for you? So it can be super overwhelming when you're like reading all these things, looking on the internet going, okay, wait, should I go paleo? Should I go keto? Should I go plant-based? What diet should I do? Should I, I have a clean diet. What does a clean diet actually mean? So I think there's a lot of areas in there where when you take a functional approach, it's very targeted and we really dig into exactly what is the right diet for you, and your partner comes along with you on this journey. It's not just you doing it yourself and eating this healthy diet and he's over there eating processed foods because maybe he doesn't even know what to eat. Another question I get to is, oh, well, he's not taking his supplements or he doesn't want to change his diet. And to me, you can never, well, first of all, don't coach your spouse. That's always a message for disaster. It's always a recipe for disaster is to lead by example. So if your partner is like, and doesn't have an open mind towards making dietary changes and is really more on the conventional side, you can't drag him over the finish line. It's like, wait a minute, that's when you have to then make these changes by yourself. And then he'll see how that's impacting you. And he'll come when he's ready. So typically the people that we're coaching, they're very open-minded. They're ready to look at a functional approach because there's lots of science that proves the efficacy of making these changes. And we typically are working with people in the healthcare field, doctors, nurses, and busy professionals, accountants, lawyers, and the like. So really people that are typically more left-brain people that we work with that they like the facts and they're ready to dig in and take action. And so, but if your partner is like, I'm not really feeling this side of things, again, lead by example. You can't force someone to come over. It just will be resistance and it won't work. He'll start seeing you as you start to feel better, as you start to, because as you change your diet, it creates ripple effect in all aspects of your life with your friends, your family. And then other people will start asking questions. Your spouse will start asking questions and he'll come when he's ready. So that's where a coach comes into play here, because sometimes when you're on this and you're making some of these diet changes, there could be self-doubt. You're like, wait, is this even working? I don't even know. And then you give that analogy of you're chipping away in the coal mine, you're chipping. And as you're almost at the gold on the other side and you turn around and give up. So really with the functional approach and taking that targeted plan that we have in our Fab Fertile coaching method really helps. So why the diet, how the diet is impacting your body and your spouse, and why you're doing it. So you become very empowered. And it's not just, digging around in the dark. So definitely there's things for both male and females to do to optimize their preconception health. And so in our Fab Fertile coaching program, we have access to functional testing. Like we were just talking about, we do food sensitivity testing, and typically we're dealing with female factor infertility. And so we do food sensitivity testing and we do hormone testing using urine. So we use the Dutch test. We do stool testing using the GI map test, and hair testing, doing hair tissue neural analysis testing. So we have no affiliation with the labs. We use the best test available on the market. Right now for the food sensitivity testing, we're doing either the LEAP MRT, and depending on where you are in the world, it'll depend on the tests that we have access to. So LEAP MRT, we're doing an IgG test, so delayed food reactions. The LEAP MRT is looking at 200 foods and food chemicals. And then we're doing the Dutch test, which can be shipped most places in the world. And that's a dried urine test, looking at your sex hormones, looking at your melatonin. And a lot of times people are supplementing with melatonin. And so for us is to see, and I know there's studies saying that melatonin can be helpful during IVF. To me is like, well, why is your melatonin low in the first place? Is there a gut infection going on? With our exposure to blue and light, to blue and green light, that's a factor. Obviously we have our podcast sponsor, Blue Block. So looking at getting some blue blocking glasses that can help with melatonin production, which is crucial for male and female fertility. So that's something for both of you guys to look at, getting blue blocking glasses, or at the very least, putting your phone on night mode. Really at sunset, it's switching over to night mode on your tablet, your computer, and your phone. But the blue light blocking glasses, they're awesome too. They just make you feel sleepy. So if you have issues with sleep, which is key, but really for this, so it's basically using those 4 tests: the food, the hormone, the stool test. The majority of people that we work with, there's either a parasite, a worm, a bacterial infection, a fungal infection, and H. pylori. And we often see couples passing infections back and forth, which commonly is H. pylori, which can be transmitted via saliva. And so we have a protocol then to address that. And again, if your body's under attack, if there's an infection like this, your body wants to survive, not procreate. So addressing those gut infections. And typically we see a lot of women that have been on hormonal birth control, which then predisposes you to food sensitivities, gut infections. Then also with the next test we're doing, which is the hair tissue mineral analysis test, then we see people. So if you've been on long-term hormonal birth control, it impairs your body's ability to absorb nutrients. So you can eat this beautiful, nutrient-dense, organic, awesome diet, but your body's not absorbing that. And we see this all the time. So those are the 4 tests. And then we also do a blood chemistry review. And so the blood chemistry review is for both you and your partner. And this is where, so even though the tests are for the female partner, and we're typically dealing with unexplained infertility, low AMH, high FSH, premature ovarian insufficiency or failure, diminished ovarian reserve are the main ones we work with. We do work with PCOS as well and endometriosis, but the main ones are those DOR and low AMH and unexplained. But so we do the blood chemistry review, and it's not to diagnose. We don't diagnose. We're educating, and we're looking at the reference ranges through the lens. So they're through the lens of functional. We're looking at the functional reference ranges, which are for healthy people, whereas the ones in the conventional medicine, those are for people with disease. So really the functional reference ranges, it flags it earlier and things that are missed. So again, we see for men, it could be anything. So we can see people, either an indication that there is a gut infection on the blood chemistry. We can see low vitamin D, which we see in men, which is an indicator to dig deeper. We see the infections being passed back and forth. So if a female is coming up and is doing the GI map, which is a stool test, if we're seeing an infection there, then we want to make sure that the partner is treated as well. With men, we could see, it's really different for everyone, so it's hard to say, but it could be some issues with cholesterol, maybe low cholesterol, so not making hormones. We can see high vitamin B12, which could be an indicator that he's excreting the B12, and so it's actually low. There could be blood sugar issues. So we are then looking at preconception health for both men and women, and then optimizing that. So although we may want to focus on egg health and sperm health, like we're looking at the whole body. And when you look at the whole body, you actually improve egg health and sperm health. So eggs, the life cycle of the egg is 90 days. So it takes 90 days to renew the egg, and the life cycle of the sperm is 70 to 80 days. So there's lots of things we can do in a very short period of time to really optimize your egg and sperm. So it used to be 60% female factor in fertility, 40% men, and now studies are showing it's 50-50. And, even if it is female factor infertility, there's lots of things your partner can do from a medical side of things to improve his preconception health. So looking at his blood chemistry, and we're looking at blood chem from the last 3 months. And again, not to diagnose, that's not what we do. We're educating. There could be thyroid issues. Typically for men, though, it's more around the cholesterol, or if there's blood sugar issues, or maybe some vitamin imbalances that we're seeing. As part of my team, as you may know, I work with a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. She's the one that's going to review the test and then come up with a protocol. And then I'm going to help coach you through it. So if you're feeling like you're focused in on that diagnosis, if you say, for instance, you have low AMH or diminished ovarian reserve, and you feel that it's your fault, that nothing is working, and your only option is IVF, and with the functional approach, with diminished ovarian reserve, we've there's lots of things you can do to improve your preconception health along with your partner. So the mental, emotional side of this stuff, especially if it is you're dealing with female pattern fertility, you could feel that it's all on your shoulders, that it's something that you have to do and you're making all these changes. And he may be over there, ready and willing to support you, but not sure what he can do. He is grieving and dealing, he's in pain just as much as you are. So to bring him in there. And so it's not just, he doesn't just have to, obviously he's supporting you, but he can need support himself. So that mental, emotional side of things and opening up the dialogue, opening up the conversation so the two of you guys can see a path forward together. Because this is impacting both of you and both of your lives. And you both may feel stuck and you both may have put joy on hold. So how do you even get back to doing things that you like as a couple? Be it, going on date night. Obviously right now I'm recording this in the middle of the pandemic. So it might just be you having a nice romantic dinner together. It could be like things that you enjoy doing together, like a bike ride or going for a walk. So simple things, the simple things are the things actually where you may have stopped doing that. Maybe you're not even hanging out together anymore. Maybe you're, he's watching TV in one room and you're watching it in the next room. So how do you, and you're only getting together for, that time of month where you're during your fertile window, and that intimacy has been lost, that connection has been lost. So how do you do things to get that back together? And maybe it's just, sitting and holding hands or giving each other a back rub or just doing like that touch side of things. So this is what we talk about in our coaching program to really get back to, like, how do you get back to that love and intimacy? Because right now you're in pain and you're pushing and you potentially are planning and controlling, and then it kind of spirals down. And you talk about, we all go down. This is not about you being some Pollyanna and feeling you're going to be positive all the time and doing affirmations. Obviously those are helpful, but all of us go down, but how long do you go down there for? Is it minutes, hours, days, months, years? Or are you able the next day to bounce back up and say, okay, yesterday was a shit day. And, today I'm going to do whatever makes you feel good. And it is maybe even looking at your day to say, okay, this is what makes me feel good. And once you're feeling good, then it's like, again, it's that ripple of people around you, and he's doing things to help to make him feel good. So I talk about in the coaching program, these big rocks. And so it's basically you have a glass, and in there you put these three big rocks, and then you can add in the pebbles, the sand, and the water. But if you have the cup and you put in the sand, the pebbles, the water first, the big rocks don't fit. So that's like, what are those three things each day that for you just need to make sure are done? So for me, like, I need to make sure I get outside in nature. I got to walk. I need to be outside. I need to make sure I eat my 3 meals a day and my snacks. Don't mess with my food. I need to eat a regular diet. I see a lot of people skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, not able to, right now where most of us are home. And so being able to prioritize food, to me, that's one of mine. And also sleep. Like, don't mess with my sleep either, because I'm going to be cranky and not happy. So doing that bedtime routine for me is really key. And also we work with couples for months on that. So a lot of times couples will start meditating and they'll do some visualization together in bed, maybe listening to a recording or something together. They like doing that, or even doing fertility yoga together. So just see if you are on this journey and it's just you over here by yourself, and maybe you're not sure how to include your partner. So kind of bringing him into this can really help to then alleviate that pressure that you've inadvertently, as women, type A women, go, we've put on ourselves, and we're pushing, we're doing all these things, we're researching. It's another thing I see that when I ask our couples, and I'm going to generalize here, women are researching. We're doing like hours of internet research, and we're coming up for air and we feel exhausted, and it's disempowering. I ask men, are you researching? And I'd say about 99% of them tell me no. So, and it's not to say it'll be like, oh, she's bringing me all the stuff. I'll read what she finds, and I'm involved. So it's not that he's not involved, but he doesn't typically go and research himself. And it's women that are reaching out to me. So how do you then get back to, thinking about when you first met and getting back to that intimacy, that joy you had with each other. And a lot of times too, as a couple, we've cut off our social relationships. So being around other people that have kids, family members that have kids, it can be very painful. So you need to figure out as a couple, well, what does that look like? Do we want to, if we're invited to someone's house, well, right now we're not invited anywhere, we're doing Zoom parties, but we can be on group chats that are triggering. So how do we set boundaries around that? And maybe if there's a group chat, they're talking about babies, we don't go, we take ourselves off of that. If we're on, we're talking to, like we're talking about this in the pandemic, but once we are able to get out, if you're around children, do you come later to a party so then you can leave? So the two of you guys discussing this together. So a lot of this is your partner and you are on this journey together. And if you're feeling like you're kind of torn apart a little bit, or if you're feeling that you're not on the same page, or if you're feeling it's all you, or maybe for you, your partner is there like right with you all along, very supportive, but he may just be supporting you and he needs support as well. And he may not be able to ask for it. So that's key as well. So the things I see are, like we talked about in the beginning, men may not know what to do as far as emotionally to the support that they actually need to be able to ask for it, because they feel that they need to be strong for their female partner. They may not know which diet is right for their preconception health. So that's what we help with the diet and really fine tuning it and looking at blood chemistry. And so there's a lot of general recommendations. So with the functional approach, we're taking a very personalized approach to this. And then also with infections being passed back and forth. So we see that a lot as well. So there's definitely things we can do to optimize our preconception health. I think really including the partner in the equation helps to alleviate the stress, and really it sets that strong foundation for during pregnancy and when your child comes. So you're both on the same page and you've both gone through this journey, because when you find the functional approach to life and to how you do things, it is life changing, and you won't look at things. You won't look at things the same again. All, like we've talked about before, where there's a high percentage, 99% of the people we work with, there's a food sensitivity. Most people would not think of that when they're dealing with infertility. The gut infection, most people will not think of that when they're dealing with infertility. Environmental toxins. I think there's more awareness about this now with your personal care, with the air we're breathing, with your electromagnetic frequency, radiation. Just did a podcast the other day talking about EMFs, definitely for both female and male fertility, especially for male fertility, how that impacts sperm. I think we know as men not to put our phones in our front pockets or anywhere on our body for that matter, and how that is detrimental to sperm. So those environmental toxins, the mental emotional stress. I think we all know that dealing with infertility is extremely stressful. It can be isolating. There can be shame. There can be anger. There can be sadness. There can be frustration, all those emotions. And so having your partner, having both you guys on the same page with this, and then knowing that it's brave to ask for support. Like you don't need to do this by yourself, and really having your partner there with you can really, it's interesting when we have the conversations when I'm coaching couples. Sometimes they'll say to me, oh, I didn't even know he was thinking that, or I didn't even know she was thinking that at all. Or, oh, that's the first time I've heard them say that. And then it just prompts conversations afterwards to kind of reflect on, oh, okay, seeing, how you're doing things. Or maybe you don't even know that you've blocked out your partner, that you're no longer, that again, I've said this a lot, but putting joy on hold, that you're not able to enjoy anything anymore because it becomes this singular focus. Like singular, all things invested to have your baby. And it's really when you sit back and release that pressure and all that, then I'm kind of holding my shoulders here as I'm saying this, that pressure, all that that's on you. And then that's where you can actually feel that peace. And so including your partner in this really helps to get you guys on the same page as you go through this transformative journey, because dealing with infertility is freaking transformative in a negative way. But how do you flip it around to see this can actually make you guys stronger? It can really bring you together. And so you just feel empowered and you're able to take action. But right now you may feel in a very dark spot. You may feel separated. But there's things you can do that, that can help and to help you see a path forward together, whatever that may look like. And, I certainly never saw on my plan of plans having my children with donor eggs, but it is being open to see what that path is for you. And right now we may have it that it's going to be a certain way. So how do we open that up? And then having our partner beside us and, doing this together. So I really encourage you, if you've been listening to this podcast by yourself, I encourage you to have a conversation with your partner, or even have him come back and listen to this conversation as well to see, what could have been missed? What's the conversation you need to have around this to, so it's not just potentially, if it is just you making all these changes or you feeling, the stress of this, there's things he can do. And again, I'd say like a high percentage of people I work with, the men are extremely supportive. They just don't know what they can do. And so if you'd want to have that conversation with myself, we can come up with an action plan just for your specific situation. You can go to Fab Fertile, Fab Fertile, click on book a free call, and we can chat. So there's definitely things to do. And our program is different because we offer the testing, which most other programs, the testing is extra. Our testing is included in the cost of the program. And we're different because we actually coach you to help you make these changes, because the testing is only the beginning. You can pay. There obviously is an investment for the program and the testing, but you can pay for those tests. And then you never actually make the changes when you get the results back. So it's when the rubber hits the road after you get the test. And then there's a protocol. And then we have to start making these very targeted diet and lifestyle changes. And it takes work. It takes an open mind. It takes doing this together and looking at your patterns, seeing how you show up, and having someone work through that, work with you on that is very, that's where you see the results. That's where you see the results faster. Obviously, you can listen to this podcast. I've got heaps of information on there for you to help you get started right now, but I really recommend to see results faster to work with someone to help you see success. So if you want to have a conversation with me about how our program can help you and your partner, feel free again to go to Fab Fertile, click on the free call. And thanks again, and have yourself a fab day. Melatonin is important for female fertility. It helps regulate hormones and maintain the body's circadian rhythms. Plus, it helps determine the frequency and duration of the menstrual cycle. Plus, it impacts sperm count and motility. Blue and green light negatively impact our melatonin production. That's why we recommend Blue Blocks, blue and green light sleep glasses to all our one-to-one clients. Simply go to BlueBlocks, BLUBLOX.com, and use the coupon code GETPREGNANT podcast at checkout to receive your 15% discount. That's BlueBlocks, BLUBLOX.com, and use the coupon code GetPregnant Podcast. Hey there, I regularly speak with 5 to 10 couples per week who are struggling to have their baby. And although we want to help everyone, we only have 2 spots available per month to work with us. So the Supercharge Your Fertility Discovery Call is for action takers, really people who are ready to move forward so they can finally have their baby. And if you're not ready and you wait, the risk is you'll need to wait 2 to 3 months for a spot to open up. So if you're seriously considering working with us, go to Fab Fertile, FabFertile.com, and click on Book a Free Call. Then you'll be all booked in and ready to spend 30 minutes to give you the action plan to getting pregnant naturally. That's Fab Fertile, FabFertile.com, and click on Book a Free Call. The Get Pregnant Naturally podcast, including show notes and links, provides information with respect to healthy living, nutrition, lab testing, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Get Pregnant Naturally podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice, and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.